Hello, welcome to IDG Talks here at AD University. My name is Anastasia Laurina, and now I'm joined by the member of Azerbaijani Parliament, Sevinj Fataliyeva. Warm welcome.
Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you very much for joining us today. In this particular edition, I'm planning to speak about the recent meeting held in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates, between the President of Azerbaijan, Ilham Aliyev, and Prime Minister of Armenia, Nikol Pashinyan. Bilateral meetings between two leaders without mediators. How significant you think is this meeting in Abu Dhabi for the long-term peace process between two countries?
This meeting is actually very important, and it's the first time in a long while that the leaders of Azerbaijan and Armenia, the President Ilham Aliyev, Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan, sat down face to face, and that alone sends a strong signal that both sides are ready to talk seriously again. And what makes it even more meaningful is that the meeting happened without any outside mediators, whether it's Russia, whether it's the United States, EU, or any other country or institution. And it shows that both countries are now trying to solve their issues directly, and that's a big shift from before. Also, the location matters. Abu Dhabi is neutral, respected by both sides, both countries, and trusted. And the United Arab Emirates didn't try to influence the talks, the negotiation process, even speaking in generally all the processes going on in the region. They just provided a calm and a neutral space. So while no big breakthroughs were expected, just having the meeting at all with a serious agenda and in this format is a very real step forward for peace in South Caucasus.
Yes, you're absolutely right. The meeting was held in between of President Aliyev and Prime Minister Pashinyan without the mediators. Compared to previous talks, what stand out to you in the statement later spread by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Azerbaijan?
Well, the most notable change is the quality and depth of the process and the shift in its structure. Past meetings were often ceremonial, heavily influenced by outside powers, and resulted in vague, non-binding statements. Abu Dhabi presented a completely different picture. Well, here, agenda was proposed by Azerbaijan and accepted by Armenia, and this reflects not so much dominance as pragmatism. Armenia appears ready to engage on difficult topics, including reviewing its constitution and the status of the OSCE Minsk group, which were previously off the table. Another point is exclusion of international arbitrators. As I mentioned before, this was actually very prominent that the two sides met without third-party mediators, making the dialogue more honest, more flexible, and it allows both parties to speak openly about their interest, about their perspective they see, and the way to the peace process, to the peace final. And of course, introduction of the constitutional issue. Ahead of the meeting, Prime Minister Pashinyan called for a new Armenian constitution that reflects the reality of today's Armenia. This could imply a willingness to abandon historical territorial claims, a key demand from Azerbaijan. And of course, discussions of practical mechanisms such as security of the Zangezur corridor, which are very important. The parties are no longer talking in abstractions, but are now engaging in technical, in legal discussions about the implementations. And I think that this meeting stands out for its substance, strategic tone, the maturity. The parties appear ready to transition from dialogue to practical steps, potentially paving the way for a meaningful peace agreement.
And how do you think what concrete steps are likely needed next in the border delimitation process, and what are the possible sticking points here?
Well, first of all, border delimitation is one of the most sensitive and complex issues in this peace process. It demands both technical precision, its political flexibility, and it touches on historical, cultural, and national identity concerns. Well, I think that here a few steps are very important. That is, first of all, agreement on methodology. Both sides must determine which sources, whether it's Soviet area map, satellite data, or modern cartographic standards, which one of them will serve as the basis for delimitation. Another point I think is that the creation of a joint technical commission, because we now, as I said, moved to more technical issues. And I think that this kind of commission, this body should include surveyors, legal experts, diplomats, representatives of local communities. So have different views on the solving this issue. And also, I think that identification of disputed areas and mechanism for resolving conflicts is one of the topic that to be solved, to be discussed, and there is a need to be a transparent procedure for arbitration to manage any incident that may arise, and we understand that anything could happen in this fragile period. Also, we need to get our societies prepared, and that's why public communications and outreach are very important. And here, both sides must engage their citizens with clear explanations to avoid unrest or misinformation. And I think that there is a huge work that the Armenian side should do, because as Azerbaijani side, we already got prepared for the peace, and we have the vision of how the peace will look like. When compared to the Armenian side. And that's why I think that the Armenian side has a lot to do and to get prepared the society, the nation for the peace in real.
Right, and two sides agreed to have a concrete steps in the future that will help to overcome the mistrust between the peoples and the countries, taking into account the long-term conflict in between of Armenia and Azerbaijan. So probably the economic integration, that's one of the options for the future that will definitely help to overcome the mistrust.
And also linking the process to other confidence building measures, such as reopening the transportation corridors. A package approach can help increase trust and intensify compromises. Here, the most important points are the Zangezur corridor. Armenia is wary of losing sovereignty, especially amid Azerbaijani demands for an uninterrupted connection through southern Armenia. But Azerbaijan has firmly rejected any foreign involvement in this corridor security. We already proved that in our statements, in the actions that the Azerbaijani side is doing. And that's why here, again, there is a huge responsibility of Armenian side to get ready to solve this issue as well. And another point is the constitutional issue. Azerbaijan expects Armenia to formally renounce any territorial claims, especially those related to Karabakh. This may face political resistance within Armenia, but it's also Armenian responsibility, the responsibility of the leadership of Armenia to avoid this kind of discussions within the Armenian society. And we should not forget about the geopolitical interference. We observed during all this negotiation process during these last years that the interest from Russia, from Iran, from United States, from European Union could complicate the process by creating parallel narratives or some pressure points. So in case of Azerbaijan, we already rejected all the mediators' efforts because they proved themselves as not necessary, not effective. And here, again, there should be understanding of the Armenian leadership that only two countries can sit face to face and solve all the problems and get prepared for the joint future. And another point is that public opposition and nationalism within Armenia, because we observe the situation within Armenia, and there is some internal political processes going on that could hinder their ability to make concessions, especially on symbolic issues like borders, sovereignty, and there should be understanding and the readiness again within the Armenian society for the future. I think that when we speak about border delimitation, it requires high-level diplomacy. It requires public transparency, strong coordination with border peace efforts, and otherwise, I think it risks stalling or even reversing progress if tensions may occur on the ground.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for joining our talks today.
Thank you.